Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Horse Racing Enthusiast on Teesside, Ste&Dee. So who really am I? What is my background? What is the tale? Why did I set up the Horse Racing Enthusiast? Right. I'm going to go back to the early days of, not too early, when I started work. And people who are old as I am will remember John Collier's, the men's outfitters. I started working with them as an apprentice tailor and passed all my qualifications to become a tailor and measured up the likes of Roy Chubby Brown for his suits in Middlesbrough, where he's a local lad, of course, and had great fun doing it. Some of the quips he came out with were hilarious and really, really great fun. Met some really good people and a couple of the old Middlesbrough players as well who used to come in and get their suits back in the 80s. Went on then to become one of the youngest managers in the country for Ste&Dee Barrett Shoes at the age of 18 and a half. Actually, John Collins was then taken over by the Burton Group. People will also remember them, and I was a relief manager with them, and I covered any manager's sicknesses around the whole of the North East. At the age of 18, I then left them to go to Ste&Dee Barrett Shoes, where I was only 19, and worked for them for 3 years as a manager in various outlets, before moving into the financial service industry. Yes, what a difference. Where I did 6 years working for Refuge Assurance, who people remember from a long time ago, one of the biggest around, based in Alderley Edge in Wilmslow, Cheshire. Worked for them, made a nice bit of money. It's when endowment policies were very popular with mortgages to run alongside mortgages, so I did okay out of that. And then I moved into I was poached by another company in Newcastle. I won't mention the name because it was a nightmare. I had a few lads under me, and the company went bust. I was then out of work for 4 years, where I did voluntary work. I took over a disused community centre on the estate where I lived and built it up to being a really good growing concern, where we had something on every single day of the week for varying people, elderly, disabled, you name it, kids. We had it on, and it thrived. I was then approached by the councillor, who was the leader of the council at the time, who said I was wasted doing what I was doing and leave it with him. The next was history. I got a call from the housing director, who offered me an interview. I went for an interview with him, and I then spent 20 years, or the best part of 20 years, working in local government as a housing officer, managing tower blocks, managing estates. Very interesting. But then in the last few years got verbally assaulted, physically assaulted, ended up in court as a result of getting physically assaulted. It's been a very dramatic journey, really. And then the company who I worked for then were changing hands, looking for redundancy. I'd had enough. My health was starting to deteriorate. My COPD was getting worse. I wasn't in really good health at all, and I took redundancy in 2014. I then spent a year playing golf and had great fun doing so, and got my handicap nicely down to 12. But then my back completely went, and I have never played since. In 2016, I had a random chest x-ray as part of my COPD assessment, and I then got a call from urology to say that we need to see you. And I thought, you really, it's nothing to do with your chest. And they found a tumour on my right kidney. I had biopsies done and it was cancer. I had over half of my right kidney removed, and I am monitored every single year. I have been for the last 8 years, and my operation was in 2017. And I have been cancer-free now for, touch wood, 8 years. And then back in 2021, I was starting to develop an issue with my left eye where it kept closing, or it was blurry, so it was double vision a lot, so I had to close it. And it was pretty dangerous driving, to be perfectly honest, but my right eye was extremely powerful, so I was okay. And then went to work on November the 18th in 2021. I was shielded in 2020 because of COVID, because of the health problems I've got and the diabolical immune system I have. And then I went back to work 2021, and November the 18th, my eye closed, my mouth dropped, and you can still see now that there's a slight drop in my right-hand side of my mouth. And I couldn't talk any sense. I was taken home by a colleague. We phoned the doctors. They referred me straight to the stroke unit at the local hospital, and I spent 3 days being assessed in there. It came back that it wasn't a stroke, but they didn't have a clue what it was, and referred me back to my GP. I was still no better. My eye was shut, couldn't make any sense. And it was very scary times for me. But anyway, eventually I was referred to an eye specialist in Sunderland. I went to see this eye specialist who within minutes diagnosed me with myasthenia gravis, which is a neurological disorder which affects the signals from my brain to every single muscle in my body. You know, if you think your body is completely made up of muscles and joints, this was basically the end of my working career. I never went back to work. I was signed off as medically unfit to work in that industry. At the time I was working part-time at Tesco. I was signed off and told I would never work again due to the extreme fatigue, the weakness in my muscles, well, it was just very, very scary times. And what was really scary was if I talked too much. I mean, I'm under a lot of medication. I take 14 different tablets a day, basically to function. If I don't take them, I probably wouldn't be here. I couldn't speak. I couldn't see properly. I couldn't breathe very well. I couldn't chew food. I couldn't drink. I have shakes now, which some days are terrible. And myasthenia gravis is not a nice condition. There is no cure, absolutely no cure for it. And obviously I spent 3 years, over 3 years, sitting in a chair, wondering what my life is going to be like. I use a mobility scooter now to get about locally, and I use a wheelchair if we have to go to hospital appointments, which I do regularly, and the wife has to push me about. And this is a person that you probably haven't got a clue that this is what I've gone through. And you know what? I'm happy. And I thought, but I needed someone to fill my life. And earlier on in this year, I struck gold with I've done betting since I was 18-year-old, so 40 odd years. I struck gold, first big lucky 15 I'd ever got in, £1,200 odd pound for 5 pence each way lucky 15 with 2 very, very big price winners in there, I've got to say. And then 2 not bad winners either. And I thought, you know what, this system I'd worked on for, 11 years, it done me okay. It made me a good few £100. But now I've jumped to this next level, this £1,200 odd pound. And then not long after that, I went and got a TriCast up, 300 odd quid. But obviously I didn't put a pound on it. But I've got £100 odd pound back. And then I've had another forecast since of £271. I've had another forecast of £130. But I don't put pound ones on. But, you know, 130, I'd probably get 30 or 40 quid back. And the 271, I think I got about a quarter of that, so whatever that is. And I thought, I'm going to share this with people. I want to share this system with people. And I needed something to fill my time, because after working for 40 years, I can't drive anymore either. My licence was revoked back in 2021, so you'll never drive again because of your eyesight and your muscle weakness and the possibility of you falling asleep at the wheel. So, and I do go to sleep 3 or 4 times a day in my chair for 45 minutes to an hour each time. So there is the story of the horse racing enthusiast. So I do this to fill my time, I want to put smiles on faces. I want for people to enjoy horse racing. I want people to enjoy gambling sensibly, small stakes. If people want to put big stakes on, that's their choice. It's their money. What I do is I will always promote small stakes to win big. And then if you do lose, you're not losing much. But if you do win, you're going to gain quite nicely. And that's exactly why I do the Horse Racing Enthusiast. Because after 40 years of working, very, very busy working, my days are very long. And the banter I've got on here with people and the friends I've made on here with people has enlightened me. It's made my life happy again, because after working a long time and being able to do what I wanted to do, and now not being able to do anything much, this is everything to me now. I've got an unbelievable wife, Ste&Dee, unbelievable. She does everything for me as best she can. We've got so many adaptations in this house. It's almost like a hospital ward, but it's necessary for me, because I am a danger to myself. You can't really, I mean, most days I'm black and blue. My arms, because my vision's poor, I crash into door frames, crash into all sorts. I fall over, my balance goes, I have funny dizzy spells. It's not nice. And she's there for me all of the time. And I do have times at night when I choke in the night, and she wakes up and sorts me out. And keeps me calm when I'm trying to get my breath. And that's exactly why I do this Horse Racing Enthusiast, because I needed something to fill my life, something for me to feel worthwhile again. I hope this video has been an interesting one for you. I hope the story of my life, in short, has been interesting for you. And I hope you appreciate that what I do now means so much to me. The passion I have for horse racing, the passion I have for people. I've worked in customer service all my life. I just love people. And that's exactly why I do this. For the joy it brings to people, the banter we have on here, and to fill my days and make me feel as if I'm achieving something again. Anyway, thanks for watching the Horse Racing Enthusiast on Teesside Ste&Dee. And Steve Wright, who I am, thanks you very much for your time. Have a great day. God bless you.